Hello, this is Steven with Concept Controls. I wanted to give y'all a quick update on what it takes to update the driver in our Commander that we have. Sometimes Windows likes to dump the driver for whatever reason, but we want to be able to show y'all how to install this driver. That way, if y'all ever have this problem, you know exactly what you need to do. First off, I'm going to show you by what it looks like when the driver is not installed on our Commander program. And I'm going to plug in my pump, just like we would, getting ready for a job. I've got the control system powered up, and I just plugged in the control system to the Commander. I'm going to go ahead and open up my Commander program. And in here, you'll notice when it boots, it says no connection to CAN adapter. That means it is not seeing the circuit board that we have inside the Commander, and we need to tell it how to see it, which in this process is installing the drivers. So we're going to come back out of this program, close out of it, and we're going to go to our Windows search bar, just so you can see what it looks like when the drivers are not installed. So we're going to type in Device Manager. You'll see it pop up in your screen. You'll select it, and in this menu, you'll see a section that says Ports, COM, and LPT. If you hit the drop-down arrow, you'll see a couple different devices. First off, we have the Prolific USB to serial adapter. That's our little USB to serial adapter here on the side. That's what we use to send serial data over to third-party programs. The other device that you're going to see here is this USB serial device COM3. That is the actually Commander. So if I unplug the USB cable that goes from the Commander to the laptop, you'll see the Device Manager menu refresh, and then you will see that particular entry disappear. So we know, when I plug this back in, that is the device that we need to update the driver on. Because this here, USB serial device, is not the proper driver. If it was, it would say CCG16X on it, and that is the proper driver name. Now, normally in this process, we would go through, right-click on the device, and then update driver. Now, we don't ever want Windows to automatically search for it because Windows has no idea what this card is. So we want to tell it to browse my computer for drivers. And then we want to tell it to let me pick from a list of devices. The next thing alright, so we're going to direct it to the folder that the driver file is stored in. And in this particular situation, it's stored in the Downloads folder on this computer. So we're going to select that file and tell it to open. And then once we have selected it, then we're going to tell it OK. If you notice here, it says CCG16X CAN communication port. That's the name of the driver we're trying to install. Our next thing we do is hit Next. And we notice that when we do that, it encounters a problem, and because it is not digitally signed by Microsoft. And there is a way around this, which is the general purpose for this video. What we have to do is disable the driver signature enforcement. In order to do this, we are going to close everything out that we just did. And we're going to go to the Windows icon. We're going to go to Settings. We're going to go to Windows Update. And then we're going to go to Advanced Options here. And then we're going to go to Recovery, which if you notice here it says Advanced Startup. So that's what we're trying to get to that section to disable the driver signature enforcement to allow us to install the drivers. So I'm going to click on the Recovery icon, and I'm going to do this Advanced Startup. Now granted, this only pertains to Windows 11. Windows 10 has a different process, and will be a different video for that. We're going to go ahead and click the Restart Now on the Advanced Startup. We're going to tell it yes to restart now. We'll let the computer reboot. Alright, after the computer is rebooted, it's going to bring you to this screen. So we're going to go into what we call the troubleshoot, or what we call a See Advanced Options. So we'll click Troubleshoot, Then we're going to go click on Advanced Options, and then we want to change the startup settings. So we click Startup Settings, and then it's going to restart one more time, and we'll wait for it to reboot. All right, now that it's rebooted, if you look in this list, you'll notice item number 7. Number 7 here, it says Disable Driver Signature Enforcement. That's the one we want. We can either hit the function key 7 or the numeral key 7 here, and it will reset the computer, and in process will disable that driver signature enforcement. All right, now that the computer has rebooted after us disabling the driver signature enforcement, we're going to go back in and install that driver for the Commander again. So we'll go back into our search icon. We're going to type in Device Manager. You'll see it pop up in the menu here. We're going to go back to that section where it says Ports COM LPT and that device that says USB serial device COM3. We're going to click on it, right click, Update Driver. We want to tell it to browse my computer. We want to tell it to let me pick from a list. We're going to tell it that we have the disk, and we're going to browse and direct it to where the driver file is. And it's called can-driver.inf. On this particular situation, it was stored in the Downloads folder. So I'm going to select that driver file. I'm going to tell it to open it, and then select OK, and then hit Next again. Now it's going to tell us that it is not digitally signed, but now we have the option to install this driver software anyway. So we want to select that particular one. It's going to install the drivers. And once it's done, it will tell us, and now it says it's called CCG16X CAN Communications Port. If we close this guy out and the menu refreshes, you'll notice it says CCG16X CAN Communications Port. As long as we see this in the Device Manager, the driver has been installed and the Commander program should work. We go ahead and close out the Device Manager menu, and let's go ahead and open up our Commander program to make sure that the Commander is communicating. And what do you know? There it is. Now we have our pump control software. We would like to thank everybody for taking the time to watch this video. Of course, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us.